Welcome. Welcome to another, or actually our final challenge meetup. I am super excited to be here today with all of you and looking forward to kicking this off here. So I put this on my desk. We received these the other day. These are those, I don't know if you can see it too well here. That's actually out of focus. This is the noise canceling headphone 700. We have two of these that we are going to be giving out at the conclusion of this whole uh, challenge here at our uh, what is that called? I lost the term for it. Our certification ceremony, and that's beginning of June. So make sure that you get certified by then because you are eligible to win one of these pairs of headphones, and they're nice. They're real nice. I am I have some heartburn having to give these away. Like I've showed you these a whole bunch of times. This is what I use all day, every day. So having these have 20 hours of use per charge. 20 hours. I don't know if that's exactly what it ends up being overall, but that's really good. Like that's really really good. So yes, this is going to be good. I'm really excited to be able to give those out. Hey, if nothing else, it's going to help you be able to work better, focus better, all that stuff. So it is going to be really really good. Welcome, Edward. Good to see you, my friend. I know you guys have been through an awful lot over there, and my heart goes out to you as always. Sangeet, Alice, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome. Come on in. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter conversation today, simply because we are able to. There's not as much to focus on, so I'm going to make it short and brief here this morning. So I'm going to give it up just a minute while people filter in. Make sure that everybody's here before I jump into what I have to say. Please, if you are here, you have not introduced yourself already, or even if you have introduced yourself on a previous week, please do introduce yourself. Say who you are. I always enjoy seeing the comments come in to be able to see who's on and what they're doing here. So here's Dan is on, Alice is on, saying Yeet is on, and Edward. I know that I see there's more of you than that. So come on, show your face, not your face, just show me an emoji, something like that. This is good. Here in Kansas City area, the sun is shining and could not be a more beautiful spring day. I love those spring days. Fisheye is represented here. Nice. Good to see you guys. That is excellent. Rupesh, good to see you on as well. Thank you for joining this. So beautiful, beautiful spring day here, and it's going to be in the 60s, about 60 degrees Fahrenheit, which is for the rest of you. It would be 15 and a half degrees. I don't know in Celsius if you count half degrees. Either way, 15 and a half degrees, be very, very specific. Dan has the elbow cough, so I hope that that emoji came through. So hope you're okay, feeling okay, but perhaps you are under the weather, which is unfortunate. Sanjay, good to see you on, my friend. Good. Welcome. So let's good, we got that all set. Let's jump in and get started. Good morning, Vikas, as well. All right, so here is what I wanted to talk to you all about. A couple of very important things at the beginning. First, I would be very remiss to ignore the fact that today is April Fool's Day, and there's it's it's not as much celebrated anymore as it used to be. I always got a kick out of these comments or these little videos that people put out, and some of them were really well done. Like, think there was like a Virgin Airlines, so like you could see through the floor, like it was a panoramic view as you're on the airplane. Like it was it was some cool ideas. Like it was more futuristic in idea, but it's some cool stuff. So anyways, I do have to call that out. Swiftauto.com/challenge. I say this every single week. If you are interested in getting this pair of headphones, you have to let me know that you're in the challenge. So we don't necessarily shut it down after the first week. Maybe I should actually. But make sure to go and if you can register there, but also drop your certification scores in there. I'm going to um, call out a few of you who have, well, actually the people that I'm aware of that got certified as a result of this challenge this week. So those of you, if you are on Peter and some of these other great people, if you have not already put your score in, please put that score in. It's really, really important. Otherwise, I have no idea who to give credit to. All right. As well as this shirt here. It's top 60 highest scoring participants are going to get this shirt shipped free anywhere in the world. And this is an awesome shirt. I I print these on like really nice shirts. Like I don't know if you're familiar with the different types of shirts, but I found out there's a whole learning curve to that. And where there's like there's just the straight cotton ones, and then there's some other really nice ones. I get the really nice ones that are comfortable, they last a long time, that sort of thing. So this shirt will be something you'll be very proud to wear. So another reason to put your score in there. All right, let's give some congratulations. Peter Rusin, he got his expert developer. We actually did a podcast with him, and he has some brilliant update or modules that he put out. Highly recommend it. Go listen to Smash the Bug podcast. If you haven't already, subscribe for that. But listen to Peter's comments. He's a really thoughtful person and has some great suggestions on that podcast. Sagar got a certified. Oopsie, wrong one. There we go. Satish as well. Many congratulations, and Allah as well. Very, very good. Congratulations on getting achieving these certifications here in the past couple of weeks. If I missed anybody, please drop that in the comments. I thought it was pretty thorough working through our certification Slack channel, which by the way is a great place if you ever want some congratulations. Just go drop your your notification that you got certified, and boy, people are really happy to see you get certified. Another very important thing here before we jump in is today is the last full meetup. May 31st, and we're going to be sending out emails reminding you about this. You have to submit your score by then. In other words, you have to take your test by May 31st. Folks, that's 2 months away. You can do it. You absolutely can do it. Take your test in the next 2 months. Did I say 30 days? It's 2 months away. You can do it. Just keep working on it. Be consistent. 15 minutes every day. You will pass that test. And then finally, June 3rd, Challenge Award Ceremony. That's going to be really special. You do not want to miss that award ceremony. So make sure that you get your certification in, because I will celebrate you personally, each one of you who passed that test in this award ceremony. So this is going to be a really wonderful opportunity. So this is a wrap-up week. And like I said, I'm going to keep this short and sweet. I don't believe in fluff. If I don't have much to say, I don't have much to say. But what I do have to say is still really important. So I just don't have 45 minutes of really important stuff to say. So, but I'll be happy to answer any questions if you do have questions after this. Let's talk about some wrap up here. Ultimately, you've arrived, and I'll be really frank. It's funny watching the our numbers through the certification challenge. The first couple of weeks, we have really good engagement in this. We had really good engagement in the study group and in these general group meetings. Really good engagement, and it just drops off. And I understand life gets busy. We get tired of studying. Big project comes along. We're not able to take as much time for whatever the reason is. I get that. However, we got to get the certification done. So those of you that have stuck with me through this whole time, congratulations. Good work. I applaud you. I seriously do. I understand, sticking with this for 3 months now, that's a slog. That's a long haul, pulling through this whole time, being engaged, being part of these conversations. I hope to make it interesting and enjoyable. I certainly do that. But on the other hand, there's just life happens. And what once was important and we're hyped up about is no longer quite as important. So at the end of the day, we're stuck with just kind of falling off. But don't fall off. We have 2 more months to go. You got to get certified. Like you have done so well coming up to this point. 3 months into this, we got to get certified. Just get that badge behind you. You'll be so glad you did. So, a couple of points here. You got to follow through. Well, you made it here, but follow through with the certification. I've talked about how to get certified. We've talked in our study groups about just what it takes to study for this. We've worked through questions. Feel free to go through the Certification Challenge s- channel in our training Slack group. Um, Go through that. Review those questions. Those are kind of thought provoking questions to get you into uh, to see where your deficiencies are in as far as studying, and just go take the test. That's that's what it comes down to. We've worked through all of these different steps, these different phases of what it takes to study, to prepare, and now it's on you to take it, implement it. Unfortunately, I wish I could help out more. I honestly do. But I can't come to your house and be a tutor or something like that. I can't. So, my goal is to do my absolute level best to motivate, to encourage you, to say you can do it. Now, here's the deal. What if you fail? Remember one thing. We need to remember one thing. Failure is an event. It is not a person. Your life is not going to be ruined if you fail this test one time or two times. Heck, I've seen some people have failed it 5 times. Like you're not a failure. It's just a bit of a hiccup. Okay, it's just a bit of a hiccup. We can live with that. So what do? This is what I tell people all day every day to do. All day every day. No. Whenever asked, which is actually fairly rare. So, um here's what I tell people. If you fail, immediately go write down every concept that you found really difficult. Couple things. Do not share it with anybody else. I've read the NDA, and to the extent of my knowledge, nothing prohibits you from writing it down. I could be wrong, so verify that with me, or verify that before you check it. But what's most important about that is that you share it with nobody. That document is secret to yourself. Those concepts don't write down test questions either, just to be really, really careful. It's concepts. And that really is the most important anyways. Because ultimately there's different questions you might see on the test. But what that question showed is that you did not understand a particular body of knowledge. That's the name for that body of knowledge is what you want to write down. You want to say, okay, I didn't understand about placing orders. Okay, so I need to go study up on placing orders. The very specific question about an order status or something, honestly, it's fairly irrelevant. You want to zoom out, and that's what you write down. Again, don't share that with anybody, just so that we're not even getting close to breaking any type of rules with the NDA. But write down those concepts that you felt like you were really lacking on. Write them down. Make sure that people understand. My phone is buzzing on LinkedIn. Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm not missing something with our LinkedIn channel. So make sure that you understand where your deficiencies were. Then what you can do is you can email Adobe, and I think for some tests they actually send it to automatically, and some tests they don't. Email Adobe if you don't get the breakdown, and ask for a breakdown of your score per objective, and take that score per objective and match it with what your concepts are. Again, concepts. I want to harp on that. It's not test questions. Don't write test questions down. You can write concepts down, and still, to be careful, don't share that with anybody. But your mind is fresh right when you get out of taking this test, and it's these concepts that are really, really critical. Oh, okay, I didn't understand about placing an order. Oh, wow, I was really weak on upgrading or changing EAV attributes. That was really tough for me, so I'm going to write that down. So we write down these concepts, and then feel free to cross reference that with your the scores that you get back. Okay, well, I thought I had really struggled with some of these EAV questions, so that makes sense. I see that the database topic here on the test, that was 40%. Okay, well, that means I got to go study on this. Okay, so then how do I study on this? Okay, I felt like I was weak on this area, and the test scores proved that I was weak in this area. So how do we test, or how do we practice for this? Well, some people say, well, go get some question dumps, and I cannot verify or confirm or deny, because I don't use them or I don't buy them, whether those are legit or not. But even if they were legit, you are hurting yourself by getting those question dumps. Why? Because you're just trying to memorize answers as opposed to going and building out your knowledge. building out your knowledge is the most important thing. So you're going to go in and say, okay, well, I was struggling with upgrading EAV attributes. Some questions about that. Great. So you're going to go create a upgrade patch, and you're going to change some values for EAV attributes. Maybe first install one and then change some of those values. You're going to learn what options are available. And weirdly enough, how some of these option keys are different for an upgrade rather than an install. You're going to work through some of this stuff, and you're going to come out of that saying, okay, I got this nailed. I'm going to go take the test again, and I will not fail that section because I now feel like I am an expert on upgrading EAV attributes. And I think ultimately taking the test is kind of the first time, you could say, is even somewhat of a practice test. If you could pass it, great, wonderful, that's awesome. But if you fail it, it's exposing these areas that you didn't know you weren't an expert in. Look at it that way. And you're going to go back, brush up on those areas, and then you're going to go take and pass the test. Like, you should be able to pass it the second time. If you don't pass it the second time, that probably means you're studying for the wrong test. What I have often seen, I don't see this as often anymore, which is nice, since they changed the test names around. People didn't like the associate developer term, so they always went for professional developer. Well, now that we're about a year past those test name changes, I've seen it kind of shake out, and so people usually go for the professional, now called professional, which was formerly associate. And I don't really see a huge number of failures anymore. So that's good. But assess where you're at. If you are shooting for the expert, maybe you should be going for associate, or maybe you should be going for professional developer there. So that's really important. What happens if you fail? And don't beat yourself up about it. Just get back in and start studying. And that's the other thing, is that the temptation is to say, oh man, I failed. I worked so hard in order to be able to pass this test. Now I failed. I'll give myself a month break. Give myself a month break, then I'm going to get back in. That's the worst thing you could possibly do. And I see it over and over and over again for people that do fail. Why is it the worst thing? Well, this knowledge is fresh. You have just spent weeks of time preparing and studying for this, just like cramming for a college test. You're studying, you're learning, you're taking a practice test once in a while, you're writing a lot of code, which is critical to this whole process. You've heard me say that over and over again. If this knowledge is so fresh in your mind, then you would take a month break. I mean, I get that you're a little bit burned out, but you got to focus on this. You have to keep pushing on this. This is high time. The day after you fail that test, take 24-hour break, but the next day it is high time you get in there and you start studying again. I think usually it's a 2-week break that they require. So take those 2 weeks, and instead of taking a break, take those 2 weeks and focus, study. And then that's again where the areas of weakness that you identified are really helpful. So you write those areas down, because it can take a couple of days in order to get that back from Adobe. Fair. Work through those areas immediately. Then when you get those numbers back from Adobe, cross-reference that, and good to go. It'll make your life so much, well, I would say easier, but it will eventually make your life easier to get that test. You'll be so glad you did it. You'll feel so rewarded, as opposed to every time you see an email from me, which I don't want, but every time you do see an email from me, you're going to be thinking, oh man, I should have taken that test. Man, I got to get next year. Joseph's going to do it in 2023. I'll just join next year. Great. Yeah, that's great. That's better than not doing it. But why not just get that test over with now? And then you can join us in 2 years from now for the recertification event. Talk about that later. Okay, so continuing on, what's next? Here's a big point I want to call out. And I feel like it's important for me to say this on behalf of the companies for whom you work. Once you achieve certification, you're going to be slammed with requests from recruiters, which is, I would say, it's a good thing. That means that you have now this verifiable credential that you know what you're talking about. A real quick side note there. I was talking to somebody recently who said, oh, I don't need to get certified. I have all the knowledge, but I just don't need to get certified. I'm like, yeah, okay, great. What about a recruiter? Like, recruiters are historically not technical at all. So the only way that they can truly, well, one of the few ways that they can verify that you know what you're talking about is that you have a certification. So that's why you get all of a sudden all these requests in your inbox, because you're certified. Okay, fair enough. So, but be nice to recruiters. Don't just like, you know, be mean to them, but don't say yes right away. In my experience, the grass is not always greener on the other side. It's just what it is. And they may be offering a $30,000 pay increase, but honestly, you might just hate the work. The work hours might be awful. And so don't jump ship at the earliest opportunity. It's a nice compliment to be getting hit up by recruiters, but it is not it's not necessarily the sign that you need to change. Now, the thing that you need to keep in mind is that if you are working to prepare for this test on company time, the company's invested in you. And I have heard from quite a few different agencies saying it's incredibly frustrating when they pay for somebody to get certified. They they allow them to take work hours to do this, which is honestly expensive because they're paying you and they're not getting reimbursed for that. So it's kind of like a double whammy. It's a big problem. Um, it's a big problem. They're doing it to invest in you, but then to have you turn around and to not and turn around and jump ship right away, it's kind of let's just say it can come off. I don't want to be sensitive how I say this, but it can come off as a big middle finger in the company's face. So be very careful and judicious with how and when if you do decide to move on. It's your prerogative, it's your freedom. Sure, do it. But just keep in mind that the company has invested significantly in you and you want to make sure to take that into account. I suggest staying there at least 6 months, if not closer to a year. They'll see the improvement in your performance. They'll see how good you are with this, and hopefully, you're going to more than recoup for them the input, their costs that they invested back into you, which is honestly the big goal there. So keep that in mind as well. Another thing is I call this out. I'm really excited about this. I just sent out an email this morning about to my business practitioner friends. Is we have badges now, and we've been kind of slowly publicizing this. But if you purchase one of our courses, and if you then go and achieve certification, we will give you this badge. This badge is saying that so you got the certification, but you went through a very systematic approach to achieving the certification. In other words, I think you are actually a better developer. You're a better trained business practitioner as a result of going through this systematic process. And thus, you are worthy of even a higher level honor or higher level badge. That's the goal in what we're doing with this. And I'm really excited to be able to promote this and to share this. So we have one for each one of our courses: professional developer, expert developer, and business practitioner. So as you go study, get certified, go to this URL here, swiftauto.com/trained by, and you will get this. You'll be able to get this badge. Drop it on LinkedIn, publicize it however you want, put on a business card. This is a really valuable badge. Just drop it right next to your other Adobe certified badge. And people are recognizing this as that higher level, that next step of competence and qualification. So the Adobe is excellent one. It's a good credential to have, but this is basically saying, hey, you have gone through a really rigorous study process, and you now have achieved this test. So, or you have achieved this credential, this requirement. Dan, so there is one badge per. There is one badge per certification. So we don't have multiple levels of badges like an expert or a master at this point. Right now, it's just one badge per course. So, and then finally, I want to call this out. Help others. You have been trained. You have forced yourself to work through this process, which takes a good degree of discipline. But turn around and teach others. We have a couple people in our Slack channel that I'm really proud of who get in there, who help solve problems. And we have some kind of gnarly problems that get in there once in a while, and we got to get those solved. And I love to get in there when I can. And I know Dan, yeah, that's right. Your comment right there. You remind me as well. You get in there. I mean, every one of these people is in there, and there's a lot of people in here who are in there helping. Now, is it just a matter of like time sync? Okay, like, yeah, I got to go help out with, jump on the Slack. No, People like Dan do this because they love helping people. But what I hope people like Dan realize is the value that Dan is getting is more than the value that the people Dan is helping. Well, how is that? Well, of course, Dan in this example is helping somebody solve a problem or providing context or troubleshooting points, whatever it is. That's great. That person's going to come away saying, "Hey, great!" I hopefully saying, "Hey, I got this problem solved. Excellent." But at the end of the day, Dan has refined something. Maybe Dan did some digging, some research, and Dan's understanding, his knowledge has just greatly expanded on that one subject, especially as there is back and forth. And especially, I will say this, a pet peeve of mine, although I'm very guilty of this myself, is if somebody asks a question, I respond and nobody responds back or acknowledges it. So if you do get help, please acknowledge it, thank it, thank the person, but more importantly, come back and say whether or not that worked, because Dan is honing his capabilities, his instincts, which really is one of the key things that separates a senior developer from a junior developer. These instincts, you see a problem and you recognize this pattern. Okay, well, that's likely what's going on here, and you get in there and you're able to solve the problem much faster. So help others, get helping others. That has massively helped me in my career, and made me a lot of it the person who I am is helping others, and also continuing to somewhat be in the code, although that's kind of changing here lately. I've been working to take on some different responsibilities. So um, get in there, help others, learn, get certified, which is really important. Get certified. And I have no other words. I have no other words. I'm very proud of every one of you who has joined, who has participated in this. And I'm incredibly proud of any one of you who, as you get certified, just go do it. Don't be scared of it. Just get in there and do it. Especially if you're able to get that Summit 2022 coupon we talked about 2 weeks ago. If you're able to get that, you basically have a freebie test. So just go burn that first one. And if you wasted it, failed it, okay, you have a second shot and you'll know exactly how you need to study. So if there's any guesswork now, I've tried to take as much guesswork out of this as possible with the courses and our study groups and all that stuff. Like if there's any guesswork, I will say there's still nothing like you actually sitting down for the real legit test. There's nothing I can do to simulate that. So other than just saying, hey, go take the real test. But at the end of the day, go take it. If you fail, you're not a failure. That was an event in time that happened yesterday, happened day before, whatever. It's done. Go study and get that new test taken. So before we wrap this up, my friends, is there any final questions today? I'll be happy to answer them. If not, jump over on Slack, ping me. I'd be happy to answer. And remember, this is really important, guys. I'm honestly almost jealous myself. It's going to take some self-control for me not to crack open the box and just start using them. Although I'm not going to do that. I promise. I'm not going to start use these and then send them to you. That'd be awful. I'm not going to do that. So I'll just use these things here. They work. Hey, they do work. Oh, they're starting to get a little scratched up, and I've had to replace these little headphone pads thing a couple times, but they work. And that's all I ask. I can kind of get into my focus, and which is good. All right. Any final questions? Otherwise, we will say goodbye for a couple of months while you guys get certified, get those certifications finished up, and then June 3rd, we're going to be back together, and we're going to talk about some people who got certified, and I hope your name is on that list. All right. I'm not seeing any other questions come in. And since that is the case, I'm going to call it a day. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining the Certification Challenge. Oh, here's Brian. Great. Well, let's answer this question here real quick. Is Adobe now providing info regarding which questions were incorrectly answered on an exam? No, unfortunately not. The only thing you get is the objectives. So you can go to as a learning training, learning.adobe.com, I think. Yeah, go to learning.adobe.com and you can find the test there. And it gives you the objectives. And there's usually 5 or 6 objectives per exam, and it just gives you the breakdown. So that's all you get. There is no You can't see which questions are right or wrong. Good. Well, Rupesh, I am glad to hear that this was a helpful conversation. Thank you. And it's been a pleasure having you as part of this. All right. Take care. Hit me up on Slack if you have any other questions, swiftauto.com/Slack, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Thank you. Thank you, and take care.